Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Thomas Podcast here today with two guests that haven't been on the show in a while. Well, Adam, you have been on the show recently, but not in like a closed format film review style. So welcome back to you, and welcome back to Richard, who has never been on the YouTube sphere before.
But you have been on. Yeah, the last time I was on, we were in our pajamas, so it wasn't recorded.
It was going to be the first of the YouTube ones, and then we woke up because I think we recorded not okay. I'm going to say when I say early that day, I mean like 11:30 in the afternoon or something. And we were both. It was a Sunday, I think we recorded, and it was just in our pajamas. Like, yeah, we're not doing this. We're not making us. So yeah, last time you were on the show was all the way back in January of last year. Eurovision.
Just over a year then. Bloody hell.
Yeah, and last time Adam was on a show properly was March, which was Captain America Civil War. Unless you count his random appearances here or there for like birthdays and Christmas and stuff, which is always lovely. But Adam hasn't reviewed anything as such since then.
Yeah, I've been craving for some kind of review. So I'm looking forward to reviewing Paddington with you guys.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're doing. We're going to move in Paddington. No, today we are on the road to Endgame. We're going to be reviewing. Actually, no, you appeared in the Infinity War podcast for like 30 minutes until you had to leave again and then came back. It was. I forgot about that. So
it got really fluxed up.
It got fluxed up. Ooh, Doctor Who. No, we're not mentioning Doctor Who flux here today. To the tears or you know, happy cries of the Thomas Podcast listeners, depending on your opinions on Flux. But we are talking about Captain Marvel today. But first, some congratulations are due, as Jodie Whittaker has announced that she is pregnant. She is with child. Congratulations to Jodie Whittaker. And yeah, I think, you know, it's one of those things where you say congratulations on these things, but you can't, you know, there's more other to say than that. Good for her. She's done her doctorate and now she's going to become a mother. It's very nice, actually.
Well, for the second time.
Yeah, but like, you know, it's like a next chapter, isn't it? She can, with this child, she can start this child on Doctor Who. She'd be like, "You're 3 years old. Let's go through the series every year." And then this, you know, there's the last one either would have, you know, didn't have the complete set.
Yeah, I think it's similar because like Tennant was like, I think a similar thing. Like, you know, his children were starting watching it, and even Eccleston's, because in Eccleston's autobiography, there's like some sections where he's sort of like watching it with his kids, and he's sort of got like a written kind of dialogue of like the interaction, sort of like, you know, when they're watching Dalek or something. It's great.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's a lovely thing.
Talking of and children, one of his children's in an Oscar-nominated film as of yesterday. I can't think of the name of the child.
The child.
Is it
one of the children? Olive is in Belfast, and she does a very good Northern Irish accent.
I've not watched Belfast, and I won't because it's got Jamie Dornan in it. But that is my protest.
You could watch it and pretend You could watch it and pretend everybody's played by me.
That could be quite terrifying, considering there are children in the film. But if I did pretend that they're you, that would.
Judi Dench, but she's me.
I mean, Richard, you are the Judi Dench of the team, I think, of the crew. If somebody was to be like, Judi Dench, it is you. Adam, on the other hand, who is Adam?
I ask myself that every day.
Tom Hanks. He's quite lovely.
Yes, I'll take that. You know, I love his work.
Yes, especially. What's your favorite Tom Hanks film?
It's a cliche. That's a bit Forrest Gump.
Same.
Boo! I've never seen it.
Oh.
Well, I heard it was like about a disabled kid that then can run. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to skip this one. And then also,
I've not watched it for a long time.
I'll go with my favorite being Catch Me If You Can. That's a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
He's good in that.
Yeah, very good.
This welcome to the Tom Hanks podcast.
He's in Saving Mr. Banks as well, isn't he?
He's Walt Disney.
I love that film as well.
Did anybody catch that It's a Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood? That's a good film as well.
That's a beautiful film.
It's on Disney Plus now, isn't it, though? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Also, today we had the finale of the Book of Boba Fett.
Which I have not watched since episode 1, so I've been trying to avoid listening.
I won't spoil it for you, Rich. But all I say is this finale has not gone down very well in the eyes of the people. So that's I think this is the first big miss for Disney Plus in terms of every Disney Plus series, at least that the big ones like the Disney Marvel Star Wars ones have normally gone down quite well. This people have not been too hot on. I don't know. I don't like Star Wars, so I haven't seen it. But I went on Twitter and I saw a lot of people going, "What a joke! This is rubbish." Disney have ruined Star Wars, and I'm like, "Did you not see Episode 9? They ruined Star Wars 3 years ago."
I don't know why I watched the first episode, I enjoyed it, and then I kept meaning to carry on, and then just haven't got around to it yet because I've been watching other things. So it's on my list.
What have you been watching, Rich?
Well, it's not as cool as the House of Boba Fett, the Book of Boba
Fett. coming to the E Network, the House of Boba Fett.
Well, it's possibly in my head because I have been typical sort of thing. I would watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
There we go. I can't say I've been watching that one, Rich, but
I enjoy it because I went to
LA. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to judge. Ad, what have you been consuming?
I've finished the Book of Boba Fett, and I won't say anymore. It's had its ups and downs, but
did you agree with Twitter? Did it end a bit naffly, or did you enjoy the end of it?
I mean, I suppose I watched it. I don't really know what the Twitter chatter is about. I suppose I haven't really looked at that today, but I thought it was a fine old show. You thought
it was a final. There you go.
Put that on the show. Yeah.
Put that on the Disney Plus reviews. I don't know. Final.
Yeah. Final show.
It was a final show. I mean, in my markings, is it going to be any better or worse than Eternals?
Eternals.
Eternals. I enjoyed to an element, but I feel like they had so many new characters to set up that about halfway through they're like, shit, we've not got time to introduce all of these people properly.
Yeah,
so let's just throw another 4 people's like jettison another 4 people's like origin out.
Yeah, exactly. I've not seen it, have you?
I haven't, no, but it's the only MCU movie I haven't seen, and I'm just like, I feel like everything's sort of MCU, even Morbius. I'm just like, it's all going to sort of be MCU. That there's not going to be a Marvel movie where it's just not involved with things anymore. So it's No Way Home, I think.
Well, technically, I think that's the way they're going to go through it. And with Multiverse of Madness is why I guarantee they'll include the Fox films. It's just a way of essentially giving those films a bit more extra revenue in the later years. You know what I mean? And going, when you watch the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, you know that technically somewhere in a pocket, this is linked to the MCU because of that new burst of life. But yeah, Eternals, this isn't really what is a spoiler-ish. Rich, the bit about Eternals that really gets on my nerves is the fact that Kumail Nanjiani's character, I can't remember names of the Eternals, just goes at the end. So he's got his obviously human friend who's like his photographer and stuff. Yeah. And they're like, the world's going to end. Your friend's going to die. And he's like, I'm going to go now, guys. You guys fight the villain. I'm going to leave. And you think they're building up to him coming back and having this great superhero moment. He doesn't come back. At the end of the film, he's like, we did the right thing, guys. We saved the day. Hell yeah. It's like, you fucked off.
It was a very bizarre... I don't know whether there was some sort of... When was it off? Was it filmed during COVID?
No.
No? I don't know. It was just a very bizarre sort of choice among a lot of very bizarre choices. I think it felt a bit at times. Like the first time I went to see it, I think I talked about this a long time ago. The first time I went to see it, I left after an hour because to me, we had a set piece about 5 minutes in and then just, well, this is what we did 8,000 years ago, but this is what we're doing now. This is what we did 8,000 years. This is what we did now. It sort of flipped back and forwards too much between like the thing, and it was like, just get on with the story of why we're watching this film.
Yep. No, I agree. You left the theatre.
To be fair, I had a very sort of busy weekend and I was quite tired, so I started to fall asleep. So I was like, right, I'm going to leave now and come back and see it in a couple of days, which I did. And I sat through it and was like, it was all right. It just wasn't. It was probably my least favorite MCU film so far.
And then
which is a shame. Really good cast.
And then you're like, oh my God, it's Harry Styles. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, this isn't the Eternals podcast. This is the Captain Marvel podcast. We're not doing an Eternals podcast. I didn't review it because I don't want
Gemma Chan gets to do more in 5 minutes than she did in 2.5 hours in Eternals.
I forgot she was even in this film and I watched it an hour ago. Anyway, Captain Marvel came out 2019, I think. I keep forgetting this is the first MCU film where Stan Lee died, which is weird to think that it's been over 3 years now where the world has been a more magical place.
I actually really still miss seeing him popping up in things. Like even going to see a Marvel film, I'm like, it's not the same because Stan isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Like I watch characters in things like No Way Home and be like, well, who would Stan Lee have been in this?
Yeah, well, there is a Stan Lee lookalike in No Way Home on purpose. In the final scene when MJ is talking to an old man, that's meant to be a Stan Lee lookalike.
Yeah,
so that's who it would have been. But yeah, Captain Marvel. What's the plot of this film? Captain Marvel is Captain Marvel, and she can't remember things because plot convenience. So she's going to go on an adventure where she slowly remembers things because plot convenience. And then she's going to meet up with Samuel L. Jackson, who looks young in this, but his hair keeps changing. Yeah, there's a cat in it, and it's not actually a cat. It's a weird alien creature thing. Yeah, it's got Ben Mendelsohn in it because why not? He's good in everything because it's Ben Mendelsohn. Jude Law's in it for some reason, and he's totally not the real bad guy of the movie, and you totally can't see the twist coming because he's Jude Law and he's really lovely. Love Jude Law, guys. He's brilliant. He's Dumbledore. Christ. And then there's some weird alien AI thing that can look however you want them to look or something. Come on, what uni Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I wasn't sure me or you then.
Luckily for me, the recording should still work.
Do you know what it was? It was Jude Law invading the Zoom because he was like, people are talking about me.
Okay, where did we get up to before I started like shitting up?
He said about Jude Law, and then it all went a bit wobbly.
Okay, Jude Law is. Are we good? God. Jude Law's ruining the podcast. Jude Law's fucked it.
I'm a Jew.
Jude Law hates the time this podcast. I'm scared to say it now. Anyway, so Jude Law.
Every time you say Jude Law, it does do like.
Jude Law.
Don't say it 3 times. Oh my God.
He's like Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Or Macbeth.
So suddenly we just hear the Zoom ringer and it's Jude Law has entered the waiting room. I think we're good. I think we're good now. Right. So Jude Law
appears.
So a man who looks convincingly a lot like Jude Law. Okay, we're good. Is in the film, and he's totally not the main bad guy. He's totally a really good friend to the main character. This is why John does the breakdowns, because when I do it, Jude Law comes and attacks me.
No, don't say the name. Just call him like that guy or like something. Okay, just don't say his name.
So young Dumbledore is secretly not the bad guy of this film. So then Brie Larson as Captain Marvel or whoever. Oh no, she can't remember who she is. So the woman who can't remember who she is goes down slowly for some reason, gets really relevant flashbacks at this specific moment where she needs them, and she begins to remember. She runs into her friend who I don't remember her name. I know. It's Maria, isn't it? It's Maria Rambeau. And Maria's like, oh no, I lost you. You're my friend, but I don't really know if I can get close to you again because it really hurt last time. But through the film, they're going to learn to get close to each other again. We get a really cool suiting up sequence where it looks all neon and it's like green and white and shit. And it's like, oh, buy all these figures of Captain Marvel, all the variants, buy them. Hey. I don't know what this is, by the way. It's like a really
workout video. Workout. Come on, go! It's like you are literally a fitness instructor.
A really shitty violin. What's the big violin? It's like massive. It's not really a violin. It's more of like it stands up on its own, but you do the same thing.
Cello.
A cello. Jude Law's broken the podcast. Anyway, I don't know where I was at. I'll go again. Not from the start, obviously.
Jude Mamoon.
Jude Mamoon. Yeah. Ad, do you want to explain more of the film? Go.
Okay, so do you want to just explain the plot, or can I just sort of give a brief?
No, explain more of the plot, because there's a big part of this film that I've not explained yet.
Oh, you mean the Skrulls?
Correct.
Yes, the shape-shifting aliens known as the Skrulls. They're quite a fan favorite Marvel alien race who are in this movie, and Ben Mendelsohn plays the head Skrull. But you think, oh, this is going to be some sort of Skrull invasion. No, Ben Mendelsohn is actually the good guy. You know, he's there. There's some family stuff with the Skrulls, which is touching and heartwarming. And Ben Mendelsohn can literally do no wrong in any film. Like, you know, just see his stuff across the board. I think it's such an underrated actor, and you know, I sort of like that. I like that flip. I think that twist does work very well, because I felt like as an audience member, I was quite like, I was like, oh, you know, it is going to be straight up villain for the whole thing, but nope.
Yeah, and then Samuel L. Jackson's here because they got to wind down his contract, and they're like, we're sick and tired of having Samuel L. Jackson appear in like really small parts. So he's in a big part because him and Brie Larson are friends. So it's fine. He'll do the movie. And we probably won't have to pay him as much as if he had to hang out with Chris Evans. I don't know. He probably loves Chris Evans. Who doesn't like Chris Evans? Nick Fury. No, Samuel L. Jackson hate Chris Evans. There you go. It's a Timeless Podcast exclusive.
That's so much.
Why do you think he wanted to die in Winter Soldiers? Because he didn't want to hang out with Chris Evans. He wanted to get taken out the film. He didn't want to be with Chris Evans no more. Chris Evans has moved on to be Buzz Lightyear, and you have to accept it, kids. Mm-hmm. He's not coming back. He's not coming back to Captain America. He's Captain Lightyear. He's Captain Lightyear now. There we go. Anyway, Captain Marvel. Hopefully, there's no more internet gremlins. Hopefully, Jude Law's no longer in the system. That's one of the worst things I've ever said in my life. I don't know where we go from here. Rich, what do you make of the film? I don't know. Captain Marvel?
It was one of the ones that even before it came out, I was quite excited by, because I like Brie Larson as an actor. Obviously, Scott Pilgrim. Like, she's only in that for 10 minutes and she's phenomenal.
I've not seen it.
Out. Jude Law's coming for you.
He's already got me, hasn't
he? Yeah. I love sort of the visuals of it, and because I was born in the 80s, but I was a teenager in the 90s, I get a lot of the sort of the references and the music sort of threads and that sort of thing. Talking of Buzz Lightyear, I like, in a way, there's almost like a little sort of Buzz Lightyear type moment when she crash lands through the blockbuster and she's like, Star Command, and it is very sort of Buzz Lightyear.
Rich, were you a Nine Inch Nails fan? I said you get most of the references. There's a Nine Inch
I get
Nails.
the references, but I wasn't really a Nine Inch
No,
Nails fan.
no. Rich, because I
It
look at
won't
you.
surprise you to know I was a Spice Girls fan.
Yeah,
Though.
Rich, because I look at you and I just think Nine Inch Nails. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If there's just something about me that just screams Nine Inch Nails, I mean, I could be music.
And Adam looks like today looks like a Hoosiers.
I mean, this is a poster of Nine Inch Nails.
It is. And sorry, Ad, I just said that you're a Hoosiers fan. I don't know why that's the first part that came to my head, but
the Hoosiers around in the 90s?
No, I just said what did Adam look like today. I said he looks like a Hoosiers fan.
I thought you were going to say Oasis because they're definitely 90s.
No, I don't like Oasis. It tastes disgusting.
Of course. You
go.
prefer
I
Blur.
don't think it's a shame in a way, really, as well, that Blockbuster doesn't exist in real life anymore, because that would have been a brilliant sort of marketing tool for them once she crash lands to a Blockbuster.
Fun fact. My first ever Doctor Who DVD that I ever watched, my first ever episodes that weren't live of Doctor Who I ever watched was Series 3 of Doctor Who, the box set, the Master and Doctor. Issue is they gave me like 3 days to watch it, and I was like a 12-year-old, so like there's no way I'm watching 13 episodes of anything in 3 days. So I think I watched like 4 episodes, and then I did, because I got halfway through the Dalek 2-parter before I could give it back. And I didn't watch it for years afterwards. And yeah, there you go. That's my Blockbuster story.
We didn't have Blockbuster in Northern Ireland. We had a company that I think was linked to them in some way, but it was called Extravision.
Do you have any cool Blockbuster stories?
Not necessarily Blockbuster, but I suppose for me, Love Film was quite a big thing. You know, I remember playing, there's not just films, I could play like games. Like I remember playing LA Noire, the Rockstar game from them.
I don't know what you're talking
like
about. What the hell is this?
LA Noire.
I don't know what LA Noire is. I mean, what is this love film thing?
You don't know? Oh, Love Film. Yeah, it was basically it was a sort of rental thing, but it was done online, I think. So they'd send.
Blockbuster, really, wasn't it? Because
yeah,
because you were able to just get them to send you the DVDs, and then you sent them back, and it didn't cost you anything.
That's it. Yeah.
Because we even had that's how Netflix started in America, wasn't it? It was basically they were like a DVD thing.
Yeah, I do like how the Captain Marvel podcast has turned into let's talk about renting video stores.
I missed all of that though. I really do. Like there was something about, like I remember we would rent a video on a Saturday night and we'd sit down, we'd turn the lights off in the living room, watch a film, and that would be our Saturday night ritual. And we don't really do that anymore. We stream everything during the week and not really, we'll watch the old thing on a Saturday night, but it's not really the same because that sort of era has gone.
Yeah, it's also interesting though. I don't know about you guys, but I found myself, because there's so many streaming platforms out there, that when I find that a film isn't on streaming, I'm like, really? Like, there's a few that just you can't find them anywhere. And you're like, how is...
I've still got my DVDs, because you can't get everything. You can't get Spice World the movie on streaming.
You can't get The Greatest Showman right now, which is bizarre. I've never seen it too, but I want to.
Cats has gone on Netflix, but I'll never watch Cats because I did.
The one with everyone's, the nation's favorite James Corden.
I've sat through the stage show and that was enough.
There we go. Anyway, back to Captain Marvel. Ads, what do you make of Captain Marvel?
I don't mind it. It's not my favorite or my least favorite of the MCU. I think what makes the movie is Brie Larson's chemistry with Samuel Jackson, because I suppose it helps that their chemistry before was sort of very well established. They've been in movies together, and so they can kind of hit the ground running quite well. I like the duality of sort of her sort of alien Kree sort of life and her normal life, and how the pieces of the puzzle are coming together. Annette Bening's in this movie, and she's cool. As I say, Ben Mendelsohn absolutely kills it just generally. So no need to do anything there. But this is my first film I watched with the great Lashana Lynch, you know, and she's a great talent in this as well. Yeah, I think generally it's decent. It's not so bad. It's a fine movie. Just
And
like
we
Boba
get
Fett, it's a fine
back
old movie.
very briefly as well.
Mm.
Oh, and I did Google the name. The first young Carol Danvers we see is McKenna Grace, who has recently been, she was Phoebe in Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Have you all seen
Indeed.
Ghostbusters Afterlife?
Yes.
I still need to see it.
Adam!
Yeah, I know.
Adam and Moon.
I got caught up in a lot of stuff.
Adam, just because you're no longer a film student does not mean that you shouldn't be watching films. This is bullshit.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, you're lucky this isn't the Ghostbusters After. Yeah, but McKenna Grace is brilliant, even though she's not really in this movie that much.
She's in The Handmaid's Tale for a few episodes, and she's really good in that as well.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat to Ad here. I kind of describe this movie with some MCU films like this. You give me all the MCU films, I don't hate it, but I never pick it. That's why I put Captain Marvel. Like if you gave me all the MCU films, which one do you want to watch? Captain Marvel's never going to be my first choice. Maybe not even 10th choice. Do you know what I mean? But there are good elements here. Like Dad said, there are still some fun moments to be had. But I think the issue is that at this time in the MCU, the formula just got boring. And then by that, I mean the origin story formula. And I think because we've all seen story outside of the MCU as well, stories where characters don't have a memory and they have to learn throughout who they really are. And there's a twist in the middle that everyone sees coming. It just kind of feels a bit inconsequential when you sort of leave the film going, well, it was all right, but I've seen better. Do you know what I mean? This is where hopefully, because this is an audio-based podcast, one of you would retort and
what I say is, I mean, obviously this movie is sort of going to have a hard time anyway, sandwiched between Infinity War and Endgame, like, you know, because people still want to pick up from that, and they sort of have to go to some, as I say, the kind of familiar origin story thing, you know.
It's kind of having to do a similar thing to what Black Widow had to do, where there we go, cat. Where it's having to, because obviously we now have Florence Pugh coming into the MCU, it's had to find a way to hoik them into the MCU in some way. So it sort of has to do that type of job.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, this one feels really kind of jaunty though, because how big of a character Captain Marvel is and how powerful that she is, and that they've kind of just put her in right at the last minute. It's sort of a bizarre one to me. I mean, I know more fans at the time were dreading how much she'd be in Endgame and how much impact she would have. Thankfully, she's not in it too much. But yeah, in this film, her introduction feels rushed. I don't like how they do certain bits. Like, I don't know about you guys, and this isn't just because I've seen the film before. I could see the whole kind of cross with Yon-Rogg from a mile off. I mean, it's not as if the Kree are good people. Like we don't really meet any of them that are nice people. One of them is Korath, for God's sake, who was a villain in Guardians 1. And if this is a flashback story, then we sort of know where that's headed. Do you know what I mean? So I sort of feel like this whole kind of big reveal that it's kind of holding on and needing to be good sort of kind of falls flat. Like I feel like when anyone goes, oh, the Kree were bad people, it's not like it's not like we cared about any of them. So when we find that information out, it's not really a big deal. Do you know what I mean? Can we not just nod? This is an audio-based podcast for a lot of people. This isn't me doing a speech. Just sat there going, "Yes, Alex, I agree." This is
honestly, it's like the sad Affleck meme where he's just sort of sits there quietly, and then eventually he's like, "I agree." Yeah.
There we go.
I mean, there's elements of it I really, really enjoy. That I love the hero moment in it. I think that's really well done, and the visuals of it are beautiful.
Yep.
But yeah, I can sort of see where you're coming from on that. It is probably one of my sort of like top Marvel films, when we've already discussed what my least favorite one probably is.
Yep.
But yeah, and I'm excited to see where they go with the Marvels when that eventually comes out.
Yeah,
that's
me
delayed
too.
away, isn't it?
One thing that's really sad about this film, actually, I don't know why. I guess because I did it a lot. Sometimes the CGI for the young people looks ropey. Like Clark Gregg looks terrible in this film. He just does. He looks really spongy and rubbery and a bit weird. Samuel L. Jackson looks okay if you don't look at his hair, because his hair looks really bizarre. You know, I'm not complaining. It's a weird feat that we can do for people, but it's just if you're going to use it a lot, make it look good.
Yeah, there's not. It's the shot. Yeah, the shot where character name's gone out of my head.
Carlson
comes out of the blockbuster. It's sort of his face looks really flat.
Yeah.
Which is so it sort of you can sort of that sort of ruins that whole sort of what they were trying to do there. And I sort of really like Carlson as a character anyway, so I'm not that bothered.
You don't like Carlson? Why not?
I stopped watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. halfway through season 1 because I was so bored of the fact that they brought him back. So they did that awful CGI thing where they got rid of the knife going through him in Avengers. And then just I felt like the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kept relying too heavily on what had happened. That was Jude Law then. What had happened during...
Oh no, Jude Law's in the lungs. Jude Law's in the lungs.
So every time anything was going on, they were like, "Oh well, the events of New York," and it was like, just stop mentioning the event. It's why I loved Agent Carter. It didn't rely really heavily on the fact that she was in love with Captain America. It sort of there was a couple of mentions of it, and that was it. Whereas Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., every single episode there was a mention of what had happened in Avengers. And it got to the mid-season finale and they had managed to go through the whole episode without saying about it. And I was like, oh my God, they've finally done it. And then the end title sequence, they were like, oh, but the events in New York. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So I stopped watching that. I never watched it again.
Obviously, yeah, I haven't seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't care. I haven't seen the Netflix shows either. Again, I don't care. There's too much. I'm a Marvel fan through and through, but if I watched everything that they make, I'll have no life. And I want to be able to watch other things. Anyway, like you said, Ben Mendelsohn in this film is brilliant as Telos. Really good. Until the middle part of the film when they turn him into a really funny joke. And it's like, oh, right. Okay, we're doing this now. He's become the good guy of the film and he's secretly not the bad guy anymore. So instead of acting really dodgy in the first half of the film, now he's just cool and funny and quirky because that's what the good characters are. That's my issue with the twist, essentially, is that they go, right, so these characters are changing. It's actually not what we think, but the actual characters change. Like in the first bit, Gon Rock has some quips and jokes and all that sort of stuff. And then when he's revealed to be evil, he stops. And then in the first half, Telos doesn't joke around at all. And then when he's revealed actually to be the victim, he starts making quips and jokes and laughing. And you're sat there that doesn't make any sense.
Like a complete personality transplant in a way. Jude Law again.
Jude Law. Fuck off, Jude Law. You're not welcome here. But yeah. What do you guys? Is there anything to that? Or am I? Did you guys feel that when watching? Or
I didn't. I haven't sort of thought about it until you've said about that. I can sort of see where you're coming from now because it is a complete. Even when he's standing on that beach, he's a nasty piece of work.
Yeah. Sorry,
the cat is deciding to bounce around on the end of the mattress now, so the whole thing's shaking. He's a nasty piece of work on that beach when he's telling them all what they're doing. And then, like you say, it's just that sort of oh, look at me, I'm the quirky Australian good guy.
Yeah, it just really makes no sense.
It's all about family.
Oh, but family.
Vin Diesel isn't in this film.
Vin Diesel
No.
made your voice crack then, so Vin Diesel's also ruining Zooms now.
It's the slightly bald men. Oh no.
That's been my revenge plan all along.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, apart from that, I find myself struggling with this film and with things that I enjoy. I have a lot of issues with the story, actually. This is the thing about Captain Marvel. I enjoy watching it because the characters are somewhat enjoyable, but on a story level, it falls flat for me. It has that really annoying thing. And some people go, this is films. But I always hate that kind of term, where in this film, Carol learns things when it's really convenient to the plot and for no reason. At some points, obviously, there's good bits in the middle where she hears the black box, and then you see the visual representation of that. That seems great, but there are other bits where she just lands on Earth and she starts clocking things that just wouldn't make any sense. And at the start of the film, it's hype. It's written as if these are dreams, and she sees them when she sleeps. But now in the film, she just learns them because it's relevant.
While she's standing up, walking.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know about you, but to me, it's not the best way of doing an arc like this. It kind of just feels cheap and a bit crap.
Yeah, I get that.
Anything else you want to say, or is it just going to say yes for the entire film? No.
To say yes.
It is Adam Amin the new Ben Affleck?
Yes.
Affleck.
I do really like that one where she's remembering the bit out on I can't think of what you call it, like the outside of the hangar, and so they're trying to get that information out of her.
Yeah,
and so you get an expanding pop in. Those sort of bits are really good.
When the plot instigates it, I have no problem.
Yeah,
like I said, with the black box, and when she's in in stasis and they're going into that stuff's fine because that makes sense. It's random bits where suddenly she's looking at a bit of
paperwork.
Yeah,
it's the fact that they haven't sort of decided when or how she learns the information properly. Like there isn't a sort of method to it. It's just she learns it.
And also it seems really weird that this film has a lot of convenience where character issues come up and then just get dropped. So she's remembered stuff. It's like the midpoint of the film, and she's like, I don't know who I am. I don't know if I am this person that I remember myself being. And then is it Maria or Monica? I can't remember. The older one. Maria is like, you are that person. I believe in you. And then for the rest of the film, she's back to normal again because her friend said so. End of plot trouble. Yay. It's just like we've seen so many good things in the MCU like this with Iron Man and Tony Stark and Captain America. Who are they meant to be? Are they the person that they're living up to be? Are they are they really this person that the world thinks they are and who they think they should be?
Is in a way a lot of that down to the inhibitor as well, because she's got that inhibitor, so she only finally becomes who she's supposed to be once that's gone. So is there something in that stopping her learning who she is?
But then that's speculation though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the film doesn't make that right. That's kind of the excuse. No. It's like that's the equivalent of me going, oh, why was Iron Man thirsty in that one scene? Was there no milk in the fridge? It's like, you know what I mean? Not to shit on your point, but it's just at that point that's saying the filmmakers didn't add in a reason as to why this has happened.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Obviously, we have, I forget what it's called. It's not the Great Intelligence. That's Doctor Who. What is the thing called?
I did have it screenshotted from Google. Hang on. Supreme Intelligence.
The Supreme Intelligence, not the Great Intelligence. That would be stupid. Supreme Intelligence, obviously, most of the time played by brilliant Annette Bening, but yeah, there we go. What do we make of the Supreme Intelligence and all that malarkey? please somebody say something this time and not just go.
Yeah, and that been a great performance. Bit of Saki, bit of, really getting into sort of, that her scenes of Brie Larson are great. And I for the role, I feel like for the screen time she has, because I don't think she shares it as much, but when she is, and the story unfolds, it's cool.
She's very watchable, that character, I think.
Again, yeah, I agree with you, and I think overall it's a really interesting concept. However, I don't really understand the Supreme Intelligence. Again, I'm not here just to shit on the film. There is a lot of the film I like we talked about in the early going, like the relationships, like the characters. However, why the hell do the Kree live under the Supreme Intelligence? What is it about it that they follow? That's never really explained. And it's a really bizarre concept that seems to have them, tells them what to do. You never really see it. That's never really explained either. You sort of just sit there and you go, well, they follow it because, I guess, yeah. And it's never really challenged, It's just sort of a thing that apparently can travel around in a box because she's on the spaceship and then she's plugged into it. Is it like a USB? How does Supreme Intelligence work? Can I go to PC World and pick up my own Supreme Intelligence? This is what I'm asking. Do you know what I mean? Like, for something that is supposedly a Supreme Intelligence that teleports you to a telepathic world, how they could just carry it? Like, could somebody break the Supreme Intelligence? Can you sit on it or something? Spill a glass of water over it? Oh, no, that's the Supreme Intelligence dead. Like, it seems like the writers, and there are 4 writers on the script, by the way, so you know how much of a mess it was before somebody had to come in and patch it up. It just feels like they came up with great concepts, but they didn't know how to flesh them out or use them correctly. I don't know if I'm the only one on that. People could disagree with me. Don't just sit there and smile, because this is an audio-based podcast for a lot of people, and I can't just. I can get Jude Law on. Jude.
Yeah, I think honestly, he's both the savior and the murderer of this podcast, to be honest.
But Ads, what do you think about certain? What is the aspect of this film that you want to talk about? Give us something.
I suppose it's mainly just Brie Larson and Samuel. Yeah, Brie Larson and Jude Law's chemistry, because obviously in the timeline wise, it's sort of Nick Fury's first encounter with a superhero or super being, his sort of first interactions is quite interesting when they're sort of in that sort of diner cafe, whatever it was, and she's sort of demonstrating her powers. Also, when they're trying to suss out whether they're actually Kree or not, they're just a really good team. I think it helps that they have that, as I said before, had that dynamic. And and I do think, like, I gotta, hair aside, Alex, I think the de-aging is quite good and well done. It's not an easy thing to marvel at, no pun intended, but yeah, it's cool. And yeah.
I agree with you. I think their chemistry is good. I think overall it's Samuel L. Jackson, isn't it? He's never going to give a bad performance in any film that he's in. And if he thinks the film's shit, he'll take the mick out of it. Do you know what I mean? And even then, that'll be funny. Kind of like there's Hitman's Wife's films that make no sense. But yeah, I really like those two together. I think they work. I think it's really good. I think it's really fun. I think we'll get more of it in the Marvels as well. I don't think this is the last that we've seen of these two. I reckon. But
I think one of the other things is sort of like, I would just assume that Goose went off and lived its best alien life once it had done yakking up the Tesseract, because Goose is never mentioned ever again in anything.
Yeah, never. No. Also, Goose is an issue for me, right? Because that is the equivalent. I know every brand does this now, and it gets on my nerves. It's the same thing with like Minions, or what was the things in The Last Jedi? Those penguin-looking
Porgs.
Porgs. Goose is just there to be like, oh, cute cat thing. Buy the Goose
To be fair,
plush.
Porgs, there's a reason behind the Porgs. And that's, they were there because obviously the real island had like loads of like actual bird life. So they CGI'd out that and replaced it with the Porgs.
Oh.
So there was a reason behind their existence. So in a
okay,
way,
so what you're saying is Disney looked
I will
at
defend the Porgs because I have.
what you're saying is Disney looked at wildlife and went, we can make money from this.
It looks, Alex. There was wildlife in Captain Marvel as well. There was so much wildlife that Goose had to be in it. You know.
Wildlife
yeah. There we go.
It was actually Jude Law's cat that they used in the actual film. Like,
Was
do
it?
you want to bring a cat into this?
I do. Like, one of the bits I really like, obviously, is the reveal of how she comes to have the power. Because I really like sort of how it's all shot and the visuals of it, because there's that bit where you see her from behind, but that also to me looks a bit like the regeneration of River Song and Let's Kill Hitler.
Yeah.
But even like sort of the way they do that, I like that it is it's a thing of where, she just absorbed all this power from the thing, because in a way there was a lot of 90s like TV shows I remember growing up that was literally how people, like I remember a TV show called The Secret Life of Alex Mack, and it was literally a teenage girl who'd walked past or was involved in an accident where there was a load of like radioactive material, and she got a load of superpowers from that. So it's sort of in a way that the way they've done her getting the power in this film is very sort of like 90s based. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, no, I see
sort
what you're saying.
I think the fact that they turn out to be the good guys is I think it makes that bit when Jude Law shoots one of them. Actually, I'm quite sad when that one dies.
Yeah, no, I think it's really, really, they do a really good job at actually characterizing the scroll. So,
like that scroll is only in it for all of 2 minutes, not even that. And when he dies, you're a bit like rubbish for him.
Yeah, exactly. Jude Law's a monster. He doesn't care about people. By the way, I do want to clarify, I've never spoken to Jude Law. He could be lovely.
Do you want to speak to Jude Law?
I'd love to speak to Jude Law.
After the chaos he's caused tonight.
No. I think you should interview him, to be honest, just to talk about his career and why he killed the podcast.
Tell me why, Jude. Tell me why.
Ain't nothing but a heartache.
Tell me why. Sorry.
Hey, Jude.
Don't make it bad. Don't make it bad. Sing a sad song.
Take a sad part and make it better.
Remember to let it into your heart, and then you can start to make it better. I don't know where we go from here. I've started singing the Beatles.
That's good. Just let it be.
Oh, Adam.
See you later.
Down.
See you later. See you later.
I didn't hear that at all because I was too busy rubbing my eye.
Alex was saying, I'm singing I'm singing the Beatles now, and I said, don't worry, just let it be.
There we go. It's been. I genuinely, I don't know where to go. I've been hoodwinked. I've been.
Where do we go from here?
Everything all right?
Yeah, I'm just confused as to where we go. I'm stuck, Adam.
Well, okay, all right. I sort of see where this cue could lead up to me. So one of the last times, I really just trying to work out the timeline of the podcast. Me and Alex reviewed Captain America: Civil War, and we're eating pizza. Unfortunately, it's not pizza day for me today. Unfortunately, this specific time around, but we could say so Captain Marvel came out started of 2019.
We should have got KFC Double Downs. They came back in 2019.
Yeah.
Did you ever have
that would have worked.
Did you ever have a KFC Double Down?
I had a triple down.
You don't know what do you do? So do you know what Double Down is? Okay, so
I'm one of these people. I'm one of the very vanilla people. I only ever go and have popcorn chicken.
Richard.
I love the chicken.
Look, popcorn chicken's good. I'll explain to you what it is. So the Double Down is a burger, but instead of a bun, it's chicken breasts. In between the chicken breasts is bacon and cheese, and with barbecue sauce. It's the dirtiest burger you'll ever eat. But
I'm unhealthy enough as it is, so it's possibly not something I should be looking into.
There we go. Yeah, it's not available now. It's only ever available for limited times when it's out.
Well, that's rubbish.
so, I should be looking into it, but Rich is upset that it doesn't exist anymore. Last thing I think we need to talk about. Okay, another thing I really don't like in this has the solo treatment of going. We have to explain how Nick Fury lost his eye, and it's shite. It's really bad. And not within the context of this film. This film is really funny, but how they build it up in earlier MCU films as it's a war injury. I lost it. It turns out a cat just scratched it. It's like, oh, right.
I can jump.
Possibly like that whole thing of like, when you like fall over and cut your knee, you're like, oh, I'm going to tell people that was like ran into a bus. It's sort of maybe that sort of vein of an element of realism where it's just a bit shit. The type of thing he actually had that got rid of it, whereas he's built it up as something else.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want people knowing it was a cat that scratched his eye.
Okay, so it was in Winter Soldier where he was like, oh, last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye. Like he sort of had this vendetta against the person who did it.
Cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to trust Goose, so there you go.
It's not like Zemo, or it wasn't like I don't know, some kind of big Marvel bad. It wasn't Thanos or Galactus. No, it was a cat.
Imagine if Nick Fury fought Galactus, but all he lost was an eye. I mean, to be fair, at that point, you've come away pretty well if you're Nick Fury.
I'm quite glad in a way they didn't spend the whole film doing that thing that a lot of stuff would do of like constantly putting him into different areas of peril and then be like, oh, is he going to lose his eye now? Is he going to lose his eye now? Because a lot of things would have done that. Like somebody throwing a basketball at him or whatever. And, oh no, not the eye sort of thing. Like they could have so easily did that. So at least they didn't do that.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like in soaps, that thing they do where they're like, oh, so like the big like death days coming in soap or whatever. And they're all like, well, you're going to have a great day. Hope you don't die. Sort of thing. It's your funeral, so it is.
My final point with this film really is, for me, the action's really crap. I don't.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I suppose because me and Alex have directed. Well, we've talked about rather the Russo brothers directed stuff.
We directed the Russo brothers directing those films.
Oh yeah. That's it. We're doing the
Russo brothers directing Jude Law. That's what you did.
We're doing that.
We didn't direct Jude Law.
It's not going to be like Russo brothers. In fact, there's two people. They're not related, but I think it's Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. They directed it, and it's fine. You have some decent hero shots. You get some decent wides when the blast happens. Some odd bits of visual effects, and she's flying about and everything. Like some nice set pieces and everything. But yeah, I think there's that bit earlier on where I felt like the scene was too dark. I think it was when she's out with the rest of the Kree on a mission with this trying to pursue the Skrulls, as it were.
When they first found on that planet, it's very sort of it goes a bit Game of Thrones where you're like, is that supposed to be like that, or is it just my face?
Yeah, trouble. Like when I saw it at the cinema, I was like, "What on what's going on?
Yeah, no, I see you, and I agree with you. I think it's just one of those things, isn't it, where these directors weren't very good. And they're good in moments where they're not directing a superhero action movie and they're just directing a buddy cop thing. They work fine there. But I feel like it's really flat. There's no memorable action sequences. There are memorable shots, like Rich said. There's superhero kind of cool shot. There's some nice shots, but overall, none of the action sequences would even make it in the top 25 of the MCU for me. None of them are that great. None of them are fun. Even the one where she punches the old lady, it's not pretty well shot. It's just kind of funny. Shang-Chi did a better train sequence now as well. So that you can't even say, well, this one was on a train, because Shang-Chi just did it better.
Shang-Chi did it on a bus.
Oh, but it's sort of one of those bus trains, isn't it?
It's similar. Yeah, it's that weird, like
Tram?
Cardiff has those.
What do you call it?
Buses.
Yeah,
No,
it's tram.
like one of those bendy bus. It's not a tram. It's a bus.
It is, you know.
Cardiff has those buses.
It's a truss. It's a truss.
It's a truss. That's it. There we go. It's a truss. It's a mix between a tram and a bus.
So if I was to pick Shang-Chi and Captain Marvel against each other, I'd definitely go Shang-Chi. As an origin story.
But Captain Marvel or Eternals?
Oh, Captain Marvel all the way.
Alex?
Oh, absolutely Captain Marvel, right? Because Eternals is not even a film.
Black Widow or Captain Marvel? I was going to go against the wall about that, just this one.
Jude Law or Captain Marvel?
Jude Law. Otherwise, you might kill me.
Maybe I'll go Black Widow because I really like Florence Pugh. I think she's great in that movie.
She's very good.
She steals it.
Yeah, she does. Florence Pugh's wonderful.
There's behind the scenes of Hawkeye has gone up today as well, so I need to watch that at some point.
Oh, the making of assembled thing. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Another point of the film, we will wrap up in a little bit, but this is a point in the film that genuinely pissed me off on a rewatch. It was in the second and third act. It was when Captain Marvel had been put back into the Supreme Intelligence, and she's talking to she's talking to the Supreme Intelligence, and then the Supreme Intelligence goes, "If you're not with us, you're only human." And then there's this really, really, really cringy montage of, because she's human, she is strong. Right.
You're right there.
It makes me go, why? It's really basic writing that, like, this film it feels like when you'd like doing a scrapbook and you're trying to get all of the conventions of the genre into one film. But because it's a scrapbook, all the pictures are sort of crumpled. None of it's really smooth. All it feels a bit janky. It doesn't really work altogether. That's how I describe it.
You do get the song, but you get the song, Alex. You get "Just a Girl" by No Doubt.
That is a tune.
I don't know.
Back in the day.
I don't know that song until I saw this film. So, like I said, I don't mind the fact that it's like, women can be strong, but it's the fact that it's like a human can be strong message I have a problem with. Like, it just feels really dumb. Because also, she's not a regular human being either. So it's sort of... Oh, Jude Law's in the system again. You guys all froze. Jude Law's back. Jude's back.
Or maybe we just frozen... We're just frozen, and it's not the internet. We're just still.
It's. I said it's not women can't be strong. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't know the fact that it's humans are strong. It feels dumb, and also she's not a regular human anymore, so it's rather pointless. It's the equivalent of going, all of us can be long distance runners, but it's Mo Farah. It's like, well, obviously Mo Farah is going to be one of the best long distance runners because it's Mo Farah. It's not going to be Dave from the corner shop, is it? You know what I mean? We all love Dave from the corner shop,
It could be Dave.
but we all love
We've
him.
never
Richard,
seen Dave from the corner shop, no, have we?
That's a good point. But do you reckon the milk in his fridge is expired?
I mean, try and steal it from his fridge and you'll find out how fast he runs. There you go.
Fair point. I'll get Jude Law to do it. No, Jude Law will steal the milk. Jude Law's stealing everyone's milk.
Jude Law will kill the milk.
He wouldn't do that. He's many things, Jude, but he's not that.
He's not a monster.
No. Adam Mamoon, are you a monster?
I'm relentless. If I had to choose a drink.
You're an energy. Let's say you're an energy drink. Is that even still around these days?
I think so.
All I see
Rolos
now
is still
is
around.
Believe
Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not.
Believe what's still around?
Rolos.
I've never had a Rolo.
Oh my word!
Yeah. You've never had a Rolo, so you've never had any. Oh, Alex, I'd give you my last Rolo.
Jude Law will not give you any Rolos.
Jude Law's not a Rolo type of guy.
Jude Law has just brought out Nestle to stop me having a Rolo.
It's not the cream eggs that have got Jude Law.
Well, cream eggs are disgusting anyway, so sorry.
You take that back.
Adam, what's one popular like confectionery that you don't like that everyone else doesn't? Oh, hang on, Jude Law. It's Jude Law.
Yeah, that is it. That's the answer.
No, sorry, I started to freeze again. Right, what is your actual answer? What's like one confectionery? It's like I don't get the hype.
Actually, probably Roundtree's fruit pastels. To be honest, did you get that? Did you not get that?
What's wrong with you?
What?
They're just fruity.
Really?
They're fruity, sugary goodness.
No, I'm a massive fan of like Snickers and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, but they're
I like
also
peanut and I like chocolate, but I don't like peanuts and chocolate together. If Captain Marvel was a type of like Cadbury, what type would it be? As a film.
If Captain Marvel was a bit of confectionery.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to go for sort of, like I think it's just a galaxy.
I'll go for a matchstick and say because nobody really likes. Well, people like matchsticks, but they never like pick matchsticks. Do you know what I mean?
Actually, no. You know what? That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Rolos.
So, Rich, apart from things like Snickers and Bounty, and if anyone here likes Bounty, they can leave it immediately.
I like Bounties.
I don't mind it.
Leaves the zoo.
Well, I want Jude Law as my new co-host. Where's Jude? Bring in Jude Law.
Jude, come on the podcast.
Yeah, apart from Snickers, and what was the question?
Yeah, what is your least favorite confection? Well, your least favorite popular confectionery. So you might not have to hate it, but like everyone loves it, and you're like, why?
Revels.
They're not around anymore, though.
I don't know, they're not really, are they?
They're not at all. They're binned.
I'm not a massive fan of sweets where it feels like it's a task you have to eat them.
Oh yeah.
Like really tough sweets. I choked on a kid as it's not wine gums, but is it fruit hard gums? Don't like hard gum.
For a second, I just thought you were going to say I just choked on a kid. I was like, you did what now, Richard?
It's not a specific brand, but like rock candy is just
no. Stop. Why? What's the point in this?
Point.
Let's not have let's just break our teeth. What's the ones? Any kind of like lollipop, like a drumstick. What's the point? Stop.
Oh, nah.
Man, do you remember those soft mints that are called soft mints, but they're not soft?
Yeah.
Well, what's the point? What's the point? They're not soft.
Yeah.
You hurt my teeth.
Do you remember Nerds?
Yeah.
Tastes like dish soap.
I loved them, but when I was taken to Florida as a 17-year-old, and I had braces on at the time, and I bit into a Nerd, and it snapped my brace on the first day of the holiday. So for 2 weeks, I had this like bit of brace like digging into my lip. So that was fun, and I've never hit them again.
Understandably so.
I mean, that is what I quite like about sort of Marvel films, is that they will cast people who you maybe haven't seen for a while, but they're always quite good in what they do. Like Annette Bening. Like, I think her casting's really good.
Annette Bening's brilliant. She's brilliant. I think for me, the one thing this film doesn't sell me on is the war between the Kree and the Skrulls. I just find it kind of, who cares?
It almost feels like a sort of like an old Doctor Who sort of, well, why are they fighting? Because you never really find out why exactly they're fighting.
That is a good point. That is a good point. Richard coming in here with the importance.
With the goss, the tea, the shade.
Rich has got all the tea on Captain Marvel. Richard always got all the tea.
All the tea.
Yeah. I'm scared for all the tea you're going to have during Time Fracture in a few weeks' time. Spilling all the tea on all the characters. Just goes out.
Why are you here? Tell me your story.
Goes up to a Dalek like,
why are you here?
I know your secret.
I'd just be down. All right, mate. I'm just looking for the pyramid.
I just go up to a Dalek. What's would it be alive?
Just walk up to a Dalek or a Cyberman and go, pain. I'm looking forward to Time Fracture.
Indeed.
I'm going to go up to a Cyberman and saying, but I'm good at this.
Yeah, do it. I dare you. You cheeky shit. I'm joking. Anyway, let's get into our overall thoughts. Richard, what are your overall thoughts of Captain Marvel? Wrap up, final thoughts.
I mean, it is sort of, like I've already said, it's one of my sort of, it is one I really enjoy. But there's elements of it that possibly could have done with tightening up and fixing before it was released that maybe just didn't get a chance to, because they had that space to fill between Infinity War and Endgame. So maybe it's not the film it could have been, because they were just like, well, Endgame's going to come along and it's going to sort everything out, sort of thing. And I do feel it's a bit lazy, the sort of like, it still annoys me, the whole sort of like, oh, where have you been when we've needed you? Oh, I've been off doing other things, other planets needed saving, other universes needed saving. It's like,
I wasn't cast yet.
Exactly.
They hadn't.
It's like what we're sort of getting now is like, wow, the thing we're now going to get with everybody is like, well, why weren't you here whenever we needed you when Thanos was around? Like, maybe just don't mention it.
Yeah.
Don't bring it up.
There we go. I think that's smart. Ad, what about yourself? Captain Marvel?
I think it's a late phase 3 movie that belongs in phase 1 or even early phase 2. To be honest, it's a fine movie, and it's always going to have the trouble of being, particularly when you watch as it is the Infinity Saga and getting to that point. Technically, it's also the first if you were to watch the movies in sort of timeline order. Second. Sorry, my bad. With first Avenger, then it would be, yeah. Sorry. So, anyways, it would be earlier on if you were to do it in timeline order.
I wonder if you watched it in timeline order, would it make it better? I think.
Well, no, because then the issue you just brought up, Rich, of then Captain Marvel just disappears for.
Oh well, yeah, yeah.
You introduce this character second, and then you go, "Oh, where's she gone?" It's also like they obviously built up the thing in Infinity War. Before that, it was Infinity War where at the end of this one, isn't it, where he could page her if you ever needed her. When New York was being blown to shreds by aliens, Nick, and your team wasn't working, and you took a gamble by murdering one of your colleagues, essentially, to make them work together. You didn't call when robots descended on an entire falling fucking country. You didn't call your one friend who could probably lift that country and save the day, Nick. Jesus Christ.
I remember watching this film for the first time, and that scene when Nick Fury's looking at the photo and he's like, "I'm going to call this initiative." And then it's like, and the music's swelling, and that moment's going to come up when he's going to be like, "Yep, this is it, the Avengers Initiative. That's, now I've met our first super being. It is now the initiative that, he'd start going to Tony Stark, and then everything, starts to fall into place."
But what would he have done if he ran out? So like he started this new initiative for like super beings and superheroes. Captain Marvel's the only one. Then he'd have to go back to Dave from the corner shop and be like, "Dave, look, team's looking pretty thin. Can you?"
Because that was the 90s, and then was it 2000? Is it? I assume Iron Man 2000 still like in the year it came out, or 2008.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's quite. It's quite a while till he invites Iron Man along.
But he would have known at that point. Would he have known about Captain America?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, I suppose he's been dormant, and then he sort of goes to him late in, I assume 2011. Because he said, "Oh yeah, you've been asleep for 71 years." So he sort of approached him in the modern day.
This is what would happen. So this is the team that he would get. If he'd have Captain Marvel, Captain America, Dave from the corner shop, that security guard outside the security guard outside the Blockbuster, and the real life young Jude Law. That would be his Avengers lineup. There you go.
What was your other favourite Jude Law movie?
Talented Mr. Ripley.
Don't know how many Jude Law. Name me some Jude Law movies.
Well, he had appeared in the Fantastic Beasts movies, and he had a bit. Is it? No, The Holiday. That's what. Yeah. Somehow I thought. No, actually, no. The Holiday.
I've not watched The Holiday.
You've not watched The Holiday?
Why would I have seen The Holiday?
You must watch The Holiday. It's got Jack Black and Kate Winslet and Cameron Diaz.
And Jude Law.
And Jude Law. Most of Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, I've seen that.
AI and yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot he said he's Watson and Sherlock Holmes. I quite like those Robert Downey Jr. ones.
I think we're still meant to be getting a third one at some point.
Yeah, I wonder will that ever actually happen.
Yeah.
Or did Robert Downey Jr. going off to do Doolittle, did that kill it off?
Well, I think it might have done. So, wait, Jude Law is only 49.
Yeah.
He looks like he's like rotting.
That's what happens when you're the soul of the devil and you're evil and you kill Zooms.
Oh, he was in, apparently he was in Spy.
Yes, he was.
Oh yes,
the Melissa McCarthy comedy.
I do like Spy.
That is one of the only funny Melissa McCarthy movies. He was in.
You shut your lying mouth.
I'm not a fan myself.
Well, you'll be delighted to know she's just been cast as a Marvel person.
No, she hasn't, has she? Thank Christ for that. Oh, he was in Toast of London as Jude Law. I'll go with my favorite Jude Law appearance is Jude Law as Jude Law in Toast of London.
But which version of Jude Law? That's the question.
The one that is yet to meet Dave from the corner shop. So beta Jude Law, not Alpha.
Who would
Jude
play
Law.
Dave from the corner shop in his life film? That's the question.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yeah, I could say that.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson as Dave, and then brackets and small text from the corner.
Dave!
And then in brackets and small text in from the corner shop.
That would literally be the film name, Dave from the corner shop.
Yeah. By day.
Dave, real life Dave, would pop in for a cameo buying a carton of milk. There you go.
Yeah. By day, he sells meal deals. By night, he eats them. That's the film.
And runs.
And Chicken runs.
But no, because he'd get recast if it was Chicken Run 2. Dwayne's too old. They get someone younger in.
That's still, that irks me.
I've never seen the first Chicken Run, so I don't.
I love the first one. I was very obsessed with. I've got like the figures of it from years ago. I even at one point they did like backpacks. So I've got like a Bob's backpack somewhere. But yeah, I really like who they've cast as Ginger. I don't like the way they went about it.
Who have they got for Chicken Run 2?
It's Tandy Newton is doing Ginger in this one. I can't remember who's cast.
Let's have a look at the cast, shall we?
It's Rocky.
Mel Gibson. I can't remember.
His name is Donald Gibson. Oh. Whoever the hell that is.
Alex totally not noticed that Cagney's just came and looked right into camera.
I saw the shadow on the wall.
Apparently it's Zachary Levi.
No. Oh, that's great.
I mean, they've got like Gene Horrocks and everybody back, so that's fine. But at the same time, it's just like, don't tell somebody that they're too old to play a part that's a clay chicken.
Yeah.
And then cast, if they're too old to play the part, why then is the person who's replaced them? Why is the person replacing them is only 4 years younger?
Yeah.
Sorry, she's done exactly what I said she'd do, and she's walking along the plastic box.
I think that's our cue to say let's wrap this up. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Yeah, you can follow Richard on Twitter at.
I am now just ahead.
That's what on Twitter ahead.
Just ahead. Cagney, seriously.
What is your what is your social?
Sorry, at Ricky Orr.
Or
two hours.
No, or your other account. Sorry, I realised that was bad.
The Poncho Boys. Oh, at Meg's Poncho Boys, because I've never changed the handle.
And you can follow Adam at beer_can
Jude Law.
Batman.
Jude _law. That's where you find my content, my hashtag content.
Your hashtag content. And you can follow the podcast at the
Barticus. I am Jude Law. No, I am Jude Law.
And you can follow the podcast at the Tamers Pod. And you can follow me, Alex King _Dom. I'll be back next week with I don't know what. There's nothing in the plans yet. And then soon it will be Avengers Endgame time. So get excited, everyone. We're there next. The next Marvel film, I'm going to try and get everyone on there. Everyone.
Everybody.
Even Jude Law.
Okay, yeah.
Find out if Jude Law will be there. Adam, I have to say, if in future podcasts, this background's pretty good, man. It's better than you.
Which one? This one?
Yeah, your current, like, where you're sat is better because there's not a dark void behind you. Is that a Back to the Future poster?
Yes, and I put the program from the musical just in front, so there's like the poster and then like the program, because the program is quite a tall thing. It's like it's.
I do need to see that.
It is marvelous. And then next to it's like a retro Star Wars one, or like the original sort of Not calling it A New Hope. I'm sorry, I'm one of those people. New Hope, no. It's Star Wars.
Oh, shut up.
No!
It's called
What?
A New Hope. It's called A New Hope. And
I
get
forgot.
over it.
No. Why?
I don't like Star Wars anyway, so I couldn't give two takes.
McClunky.
McClunky. See you guys next week. Take care. Like, comment, and subscribe. And McClunky.
McClunky.